Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here to playoff race number 5, race number 31 of season 4 of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series, the center race, if you will, of race number 2 of the round of 12. So far, none of our remaining 12 competitors have locked themselves into the upcoming round of 8. Maybe that will change here today. However, got a bunch of non-playoff contenders starting up here at the front of the field. They comprise the first 3 rows. Benny Watson, who's looking for his first win of the season, lines up on the pole position. Dirt tracker Phil Parker loves the fact that Lime Rock has undergone a change in track surface from the usual asphalt to now dirt. He's still looking for his first career win. He lines up on the outside of the front row. The defending winner of this race, but back when it was asphalt in Season 3, Carter Friesen, actually used that race to lock himself into the round of 8. He's not in the playoffs this season, but looking to go back-to-back here at Lime Rock regardless. And alongside of him, V Almariego in the 42, who we haven't seen go to victory lane since back in the middle of Season 3. J Thibodeaux, his streak came to an end. He had won 2 in a row, but was not able to get the victory at Hillside last week. Still a 2-time winner this season, looking for his 3rd win on the year. And alongside of him, another driver that's looking for his first win on the season, that would be J Llamas. We saw his teammate Dawson Wise finish very well, 2nd place in the non-charter qualifying session earlier on today, so maybe it was able to give his teammate some tips to try and find victory lane for the first time this year. The highest starting playoff contender is going to be Zach Rogers. Now, at this point last round, Zach Rogers was finding himself hovered down around the cutoff line, which was 12th in the standings at the time. After a good run last week at Hillside, he's now up to 5th in the point standings, has himself a little bit of a cushion right now between himself and that 8th in the standings point, which everybody right now is gunning to be above if they cannot win their way into the next round of the playoffs. Now, some drivers did really well last week, including T Wright, the Daytona 500 winner, former champions in Chris Dollerton and Jordan Lopez. They're right now up at the top of the standings, but some drivers struggled last week as well at Hillside. And right now, we've got some pretty big names that are down below that 8th in the standings cut line, which right now is held by 3-time winner Adam Garcia. Below that line, we've got Dylan Young, who actually had won his way into this round of 12 with a victory in the first playoff race at Richmond. Also, Charles Belding down there, Cole Deaver down there. They made their first playoff appearances this season. And Ryan Butcher also finds himself down there. He is 12th of the remaining playoff contenders. However, I went back through the statistics, and this is very interesting. Aside from Dylan Young, the other 3 have road course victories. Beldings and Deavers took place this season. Belding at Pukekohe and Cole Deaver at Indianapolis Grand Prix. Ryan Butcher, all the way back in Season 1 when he drove the number 24, found victory lane at the Pensacola road course. So all 3 of those drivers certainly like the fact that we're at the twists and turns of a road course such as Lime Rock here today. We'll see what Dylan Young's able to do. In all the wins he's had in Duracell Cup Series history, none of them have taken place at a road course just yet. Enough talk, though. I'll pepper you guys with more statistics in just a moment. It's time to go down trackside for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
As the field's going to cycle on by, take a look down in the description below for your starting lineup for today's race here. 25 laps in length around this track, just a little over a mile and a half in length. And in all honesty, one of the shorter road courses that we go to on the schedule as well. It doesn't take them a whole lot of time to get around here, about a minute and 15 seconds in length. However, one reason why we love Lime Rock is not just the twists and turns of the racetrack and how difficult it can be, but also the fact it usually gives us a lot of good green flag racing, and we end up seeing green flag pit stop strategy come into play. So we went caution-free in the 10 laps earlier on today in the non-charter qualifying session. Not to say it wasn't without incident, but we never got a full course yellow. Could we say the same here today? We'll have to wait and find out. Remember, of our 12 playoff contenders, if any of them go to victory lane here today, they're automatically locked into the next round of the playoffs, regardless of what happens next week in our second elimination race at Arizona Speedway. Benny Watson is the highest driver in the point standings that is not a playoff contender. In his 30 starts this season, an average finishing position of 18th, 5 top 5s, 11 top 10s, but that goose egg in the win column continuing to nag at him And his teammate Harrison Ponder qualified on the pole for the non-charter qualifying session, led the entirety of the thing, went on to win, so could we have a little deja vu for the two Otter Island Motorsports teammates here in just a couple of hours span. So Jordan Lopez, Chris Dollerton, they're tied for the points lead. T Wright 1 point back in third. Carson Gum, he's 3 points back in fourth. Zach Rogers is fifth. He is 7 points back. Sixth place is K Batson. He's 8 points out. Then J Millz, he is 1 point above the cut line, 17 points out of the points lead in seventh. Adam Garcia, the cutoff driver, in eighth. 3 points back in ninth is Dylan Young. 8 points back in 10th is Charles Belding. 14 points back in 11th is Cole Deaver. And 15 points back in the final spot, 12th place, is Ryan Butcher. Looks like we might have had an incident here under pacing. No, we did not. Never mind. Saw the pits were closed, but that's just because we're coming to green. The Shady Glen 255 playoff race number 5 at Lime Rock Dirt. Yes, you heard that right. Is ready to go green. Let's roll. Watson leads him into turn 1, runs a little wide there, which you can do because it being a dirt track. Battle's going to be for second between the defending winner of this race, Carter Friesen, and Phil Parker in the 74. Chevrolet's battle for fourth behind them. Thibodeaux to the right side of V Almariego. Got to be careful here. Heading into the bus stop, can't run wide. I mentioned this back in the non-charter qualifying session. As long as you keep your car on the dirt, you're in good shape. I think I saw them all 3 wide back there going through the bus stop. That's a little risky. But you'll notice those darker brown areas there on the outskirts of the dirt. That is sand, and there is no grip there. You get your tires off into that, you're going to have a very tough time getting that thing to turn through the corner and more than likely going to run off track. There's a lot of runoff area here as well. Very easy to take a long, drawn-out process trying to get it back onto the racing surface, and we managed to complete that first lap under green flag conditions. But I want to drop back here just to see all of this that's going on, because they were 3 wide in certain portions of the field. There's one of the co-points leaders, Jordan Lopez, back here with Harrison Ponder, the non-charter winner earlier on today. This is around the 30th position. Jessica Shelton's bright blue Kana-chan machine there. Austin LaPlante just beside her. J Qualls, the 54, alongside of Lopez, and up ahead of them was the silver bullet of Michael Norman. There's Charles Belding. Mentioned he had the victory, but we were down in New Zealand at Pukaka. That was his second career win, first of the season, and it gave him an opportunity at his first playoff berth. 10th in the point standings, -8, behind Adam Garcia, who's actually only a few cars up ahead of him. There he is. Right now in 16th, his teammate Dylan Young just behind him. Those two are separated by 3 points for that final transfer spot. And there's Ryan Butcher, last of the playoff contenders, right now trying to hold off M Haas for the 13th spot. T Wright has a dirt track win in his career. That was all the way back in season 1, his very first career win at Lakewood. But I believe he does not have a road course win in his career. Cody Lamas just up ahead of him. Jack Mitchell there, right behind V Almariego. That's a battle for the 6th position as Zach Rogers, who's managed to make it into the Final Four for the last 2 seasons, but hasn't been able to close out the deal for the championship, got into the round of 12 by the skin of his teeth back in that Indianapolis elimination race. Had a good run last week, though, at Hillside, and 5th in points coming into this one, trying to just solidify himself a spot into the round of 8 without having to worry about next week at Arizona Speedway. Looking at Carter Friesen, he's now into the 2nd spot, got around Phil Parker, and now sets his sights on race leader Benny Watson. Friesen is the only driver that took the green flag here today at Lime Rock that had a previous win at this road course. The other 2 drivers not in the field, not in the series anymore, but I believe both of them are making their returns back to the Duracell Cup Series next season. Season 1, the inaugural Lime Rock winner was Diego Yepes. Yepes is going to be coming back driving the 78 for Auto Junction Racing next year, and Matt McIntire was the winner of the second trip here to Lime Rock back in Season 2. McIntire going to be returning back driving the number 27 for Joanna Atwood Motorsports. So we'll see the both of them back. Kind of put me in mind of Diego Yepes' car. That was a long time ago. Drove the number 0 Citgo Chevrolet. It's the first time that, or the only time that a 0 car ever won a race here in the Duracell Cup Series. And there is a driver in the field that was his teammate back at that point, and that's the 8 of Matt Haas, who then, after that first season, branched off to create Haas Racing, his own team, which he's been with since Season 2. Best battle on track right now is going on around the 5th, 6th, 7th positions. Zach Rogers trying to hold off Vince Almariego. Jack Mitchell trying to keep Cody Llamas at bay. Now, if these two continue to race, it might bring Trey Wright into the picture, as Llamas going to make the move here, heading into the bus stop. And I think he's going to complete the pass. He'll have the preferred line down here into 10, but Matt Mitchell's going to give up the spot. Loses a little bit of momentum there, too, and that allows Trey Wright to start to close in. He's going to actually try and make a move here in one of the faster portions of the track off of turn 11, and he'll complete the pass. Johnny Gardner now going to try and take advantage of Mitchell. Johnny Gardner coming off that runner-up finish last week at Hillside, its best finish of the season. Finished second place to Dylan Poteet, who failed to qualify for today's event. And with that second place finish, Johnny Gardner jumped up a couple spots in the point stand as well. Been a real struggling season for the Nutri-Chomps Dodge Challenger out of Joanna Atwood Motorsports, as he headed into that Hillside race 34th in points, jumped up to 32nd plus 2. And boy, I don't know if Jack Mitchell just lost momentum or if there's something wrong with that car, because it has dropped like a rock. Even right there through the bus stop, he lost a lot of ground. Patrick Smith got around him, and that now drops Mitchell outside of the top 10 back to 12th place, and he was running in 6th when we were looking at him just moments ago. Phil Parker trying to close in here on Carter Friesen for 2nd place. Those two only separated by maybe half a second. Running 1.3 seconds last time by, behind Benny Watson. Trying to remember back to when Benny Watson's last victory was. And I might be wrong in this, and if I am, I apologize. One season runs into another, but I believe Watson's last victory was Talladega of last year, near the close of the season. Can't check back and look, but that seems like what I remember. Let's take a lap around Lime Rock, courtesy of our race leader. Hear him get down there into 2nd gear, through 1 and 2. This is very tight portion here. It's very difficult to know when to get back to the throttle. And that's all about how you enter as to how you exit off of each one of these corners through the S's. Hear him playing with the throttle a lot. Faster portion here. Shifts up to 3rd gear. Some drivers like to get down to 2nd, some drivers down to 3rd. He's going to keep it in 3rd gear right there is Benny Watson through the bus stop. And then listen when he jumps up to 4th gear here down the fast right-hander to the front straightaway. Whoa. That was interesting. You heard him get out of the throttle a little bit there, which really surprises me, because normally you can actually cut into that corner a lot sooner than you expect and actually run full throttle through that section of the racetrack, carrying all that momentum down the front straightaway. But I don't know if maybe it's a case that the tires are warming up now, and so you don't have quite the grip you had at the beginning. That's the beauty of dirt track racing, is everything that you think you know about stock cars gets completely turned on its head. As Phil Parker might complete this pass for second place on Carter Friesen, and he will. So Friesen back up to the runner-up spot after starting on the front row. But when you're running a regular race at a concrete track or an asphalt track, what have you, your tires start off cold. As the run goes on, they heat up. And that actually causes an issue for your car in terms of tire wear and whatnot. When you start a dirt track race, they start warm, and as you run, they actually cool down. So I actually messed up in what I said earlier about the tires warming up. They were actually cooling down, which is why then these drivers start slipping and sliding around. The cooler the tires, the less grip you have, and the earlier you have to back up your corners, and that could be a big reason why we saw Benny Watson have to half throttle it there out of turn 11 coming onto the front straightaway. There is that rumble strip up on driver's left when you come off of turn 11, but it's more so there for a guideline. Even if you go out there and you get it, I don't think it's necessarily going to keep you on the track. You see right there, Carter Friesen hits it a little bit with the left sides, but not much. Doesn't put the left sides fully on that rumble strip, especially too when you consider the fact that a lot of dust would have been laying on there and make it slick. And off that corner, there is no safer barrier. It's a steel guardrail on the left side of that corner onto the straightaway. So nobody wants to run the risk of getting that kind of damage. Why? Well, as you've seen so far, we're almost halfway through this race, and we've not seen a caution. So the likelihood these drivers are going to have to come to pit road under green flag conditions looks pretty good. And if you've got damage, that means that's going to be extra time that you're going to spend on pit road, and that's going to translate into track position and positions in the running order that you will lose. Top four have all moved away. Watson, Parker, Friesen, and Thibodeaux all have about 7 to 8 tenths of a second between them, some greater than others. The battle right now up towards the fronts for 5th place. Zach Rogers, Vince Almariego, and Cody Lamas. Dodge, Chevy, Ford. And we do have a driver on pit road here at the halfway point. That was the 13 of Adam Samsel. Qualified in the non-charter qualifying session earlier on today, finishing in 3rd place in that race. And he's going to merge out here with the race leaders. Let's check in here as we're starting to close on pit stops on our playoff contenders. Zach Rogers, the highest run of them, in 5th. T Wright, currently in 8th. Got to go a ways back before we find Adam Garcia. He's now unofficially in 15th. Ryan Butcher in 16th, though I think he just lost that spot. Dylan Young is right now in 19th place. Charles Belding back in 23rd. J Millz in 24th. There's K Deaver, he's in 26th. K Batson all the way back in 30th position. Jordan Lopez and Chris Dollerton, 2 drivers that came in tied for the points lead. They're back in 32nd and 33rd. Carson Gum, right now mired back in 37th place. And that is where your 12 playoff contenders are currently running. So with them being able to make it as far as they have, looks like it's just going to be 1 pit stop for these drivers. Question is, when do they make it? Nobody came to pit road that lap. We'll see if they do this time around. Some drivers might decide to pit when the fuel window opens to be able to make it the rest of the way. Other drivers may look to stretch it as far as they possibly can before coming to pit lane, which might not be such a bad idea because you want to have those tires as warm as possible for the final couple of laps. 3rd place, Thibodeaux. Look to the inside of Friesen going into 1. Friesen slams the door. Thibodeaux, of course, has won 2 of the last 3 races. Back-to-back wins at the Charlotte Roval and Indianapolis, making that the 2nd time in 2 seasons that took place. Of course, Michael Norman did it back in season 3. Benny Watson, he has not looked back since he started this race from the pole position. So I think right now, I think the driver has done an exemplary job in trying to get himself at least positioned to get his first win on the season. It's going to come down to the pit crew, I think, as to whether they can close out the deal or not. That last time by, though, Phil Parker ran a little bit faster, 58.393 for Benny Watson. Parker ran a 2.60, so he was about a tick more than a tenth quicker than Benny Watson, though he has nearly 2.5 seconds to make up on the 75. But Phil Parker's the only driver that currently holds a charter that is yet to go to victory lane here in the Duracell Cup Series. So a lot of drivers this season be able to break their winless streak. Of course, Adam Garcia was one of them. Also saw J Deaver go to victory lane for the first time. Can also count in rookies like Michael Wayne Robinson and Dylan Schwallenberg as Watson's on pit lane. So coming to 9 laps to go, he is going to duck onto pit road. Phil Parker is going to follow him on. First lap of the day that Benny Watson's not going to lead. That's because he decides to give it up to hit pit lane, turning the race lead over to the 33 of J Thibodeaux. I believe K Friesen came down this lap as well in the 37. He did. Zach Rogers also, so only one driver of your top 5 elected to stay out here. And that was the 33 of Thibodeaux. So we'll see how this translates into Jacob either gaining or losing spots when this pit stop cycles around. He was battling for 3rd, 4th at the time. He was right in the back bumper of K Friesen then, so we'll see what happens here. J Llamas also stayed out, as did Jesse Turner. And I believe Levi McIntyre also stayed out in the 99. And Thibodeaux's on pit road now. J Llamas going to follow him in. We'll see if Turner's going to stay out an extra lap here. Nope, he's going to bring his Lake Effect Auto Sports machine to pit road. Look at how he has to get on the brakes real quick. Levi McIntyre trying to get it down to 35. LaPlante, Belding, they're in. Pretty much everybody that didn't pit before is in now. Ooh, Harrison Ponder has found some contact along the way. Left side damage on our non-charter winner's machine. And there's Watson moving on by, and I think he's going to re-inherit the lead, and it looks like it might be by a huge margin here. There's Phil Parker in the 74. And last time by, looked like it was about 3.5 seconds between Watson and Phil Parker, which would have increased the gap by a full second. Friesen looks like he's going to move into 3rd, and Thibodeaux's still going to cycle out to 4th, but he is not going to be in as close proximity to Friesen now as he was then. So I don't know if it was a good thing, bad thing for Thibodeaux going that extra lap or not. It does get him the bonus point, though. Bear in mind, he's not battling for the championship. Zach Rogers is now going to cycle around to 5th. Llamas to 6th. 7th's going to be T Wright. Then Vince Almariego, Johnny Gardner, and looks like Adam Samsel may crack the top 10. But I'm a little concerned about that 13 because when did he pit? Back on lap 12. Oh, actually, he should be okay. Samsel should be good to make it the rest of the way, and he was one of the earliest drivers to pit. So that strategy call actually worked out in his favor. 6 plates under contest, couple of Fords. T Wright and J Llamas, and I'm liking where T Wright and Zach Rogers are right now in terms of their possibilities of moving on to the round of 8. Both of them running up inside of the top 10. Coming off good runs last week at Hillside. Top 5 in the points for both of them. I'm not going to say it because obviously we don't know what's going to happen next week, but it's every possibility those two here today, if they can finish out where they're at, they could very well be locking themselves into the round of 8 already before we even take the green flag next week at Arizona. But again, it's the playoffs. Nothing can be taken for granted. So it's a possibility. I'll leave it at that. But it's not an absolute certainty. What is a certainty is Benny Watson. That car has been absolutely lightning fast here today. And this is... I'd have to go back and look. But I think this might be the first time this season where a driver out of the same stable wins both the charter and the non-charter race in the same weekend. Harrison Ponder won the non-charter race earlier on today. Watson looking to complete the sweep, and I'd have to go back and I'd have to look. But I'm pretty certain this is going to be the first time this season that's ever been done. And it's going to be done with a 2-car team. Harrison Ponder is at a 1 to 25 odds deficit every non-charter race he starts. Benny Watson's at a 1 to 42 or 1 to 41 ratio deficit every race he starts. And they're going to be overcoming those huge odds to win both the races here this weekend at Lime Rock Dirt. If something doesn't happen in these next 3.5 laps. Phil Parker, though, good run for him. Certainly looks like whoever got the good qualifying track position was able to maintain it. The only driver that really has been able to utilize pit strategy here today has been Adam Samsel, and as soon as I say that, I think he actually just ducked on pit road. So, well, I thought he would be good to make it on fuel, but maybe they didn't get that thing completely full. And that's now going to pop Adam Garcia up into the top 10. Garcia, the 3-time winner, the only 3-time winner on the season. He came into this race, the cutoff line driver, 8th in points. And he's going to finish well ahead of some of the guys he was behind coming in this race. J Millz, as well as K Batson. So Garcia could have a little bit of breathing space heading into next week. Has been C Almariego and J Gardner. They're going to battle each other there for the 7th position with about 2.5 laps remaining. And Thibodeaux, remember he pitted 1 lap later than Carter Friesen. He's on the charge looking to take 3rd place away. Was unsuccessful in getting it from Friesen before the pit stops, but he will take the spot there. As race leader Benny Watson just hit the line for 3 laps remaining. So power move there by the 33. Friesen's going to drop back to 4th. We hear these guys downshifting there into turn 1. Got to be so careful, especially into that fast first corner where you have to get down to nearly 30, 40 miles per hour to be able to make sure you don't overdrive that corner. And a lot of times drivers can have issues with blowing a gear there, having transmission problems. Gardner, nice move there, caught Almariego by surprise, heading into the bus stop. And he is going to take the position heading down to turn 10. So move Gardner up to 7th. Almariego now under fire from Cody Llamas. And Cody is going to complete the pass. Look at that. Nicely done. He'll move into 8th, dropping Almariego back to the 9th spot. 2 laps to go for Benny Watson, who has over 5 seconds back to Phil Parker. Does have some traffic up ahead. That's Adam Samsel, who just returned back to the track moments ago after having to top off the fuel tank. Parker and Thibodeaux, they're not too far away from each other. Thibodeaux might have thoughts about the 2nd spot here on the final lap. We'll follow that in a few moments, as they were about 0.8 of a second separated across our finish line last time. And if Thibodeaux's close enough to get the draft down this front straightaway, he might be able to have a run here on the final lap. But Benny Watson, he's going to come around and he's going to see the white flag, looking for his 3rd career Duracell Cup Series victory. And 2nd place into turn 1. Whoa! Look at there. Little contact between the two of them. Parker tried to pinch Thibodeaux down. Thibodeaux having none of it. And now who's got the advantage through the S's is the question. Advantage Parker there, advantage Thibodeaux here. Thibodeaux, I think, might clear. And he will. What a drive by Thibodeaux there in the final couple of laps. You almost wonder if we'd had another 10 laps, would he have had a car to run down Benny Watson? Not certain about that. Watson's car never fell off since it fired off at the initial start of this race. And out of turn 4, wow, that's good. Out of turn 11 for the final time, Benny Watson is going to come down and he's going to win the Shady Glen 255 at Lime Rock Raceway. First win of the season, third win of his career. Thibodeaux to second, Parker in third. Carter Friesen will finish in fourth, and Zach Rogers, he'll be the highest finishing playoff driver in fifth. T Wright just behind him in the sixth position. And Adam Garcia will be the third playoff contender to finish up inside the top 10 in the 10th spot. 25 laps. Completely green flag racing. And a little bit of pit strategy there at the end, but Benny Watson never looked back. And again, I'd have to go back. I'd have to do a little research. But I think I'm pretty confident in saying that for the first time in Duracell Cup Series history, the weekend has been swept by a driver in the non-charter race and a driver in the charter race out of the same garage. Ponder with the win in the non-charter race, Watson with the win here in the charter event, and finally, that ugly 0 in the win column can finally be turned to a 1 for Benny Watson, who was, without a doubt, one of the most consistent drivers during the regular season, but he just couldn't find victory lane to solidify a playoff position. Gotta be a little bit bittersweet, because if he was in the playoffs and had won this race, he'd be punching his ticket into the round of 8, but just to get the monkey off the back there, end that winless streak, which goes back to the latter portion of Season 3. It's got to feel good there for Benny Watson, who goes coast to coast, led every lap with the exception of the one that Thibodeaux led, back when the green flag pit stop cycles were taking place. Thibodeaux will finish in second. Thibodeaux and Benny Watson right now, those two are 17th and 18th in points, the two highest without being playoff contenders right now, or former playoff drivers. So they have really put together some good seasons. Phil Parker going to finish in third place here today. Friesen, the defending winner, no longer. He'll finish fourth with Rogers in fifth. We gave you the top 5. 6 was T Wright. Johnny Gardner, after his run-up finish last week, that team's turning it around here late. He'll finish 7th. J Llamas brings it home in 8th. V Almariego was 9th, and Adam Garcia completed the top 10. Where'd the rest of our playoff drivers finish? Well, Charles Belding, who was behind Adam Garcia, who was the cutoff line driver coming into this race, he'll finish 16th. So this might move him maybe up into the top 8. We'll wait and see. J Millz is going to finish in 18th, so he should stay just barely in front of the cut line, I do believe. K Batson finished in 23rd. Ryan Butcher, this is not good for him, 24th. He might be in a bit of danger, as might J Deaver, who finished in 25th. Those two drivers, I don't want to say they're in must-win situations heading into Arizona, but boy, they're certainly going to need some help next week. Carson Gum finished down in 30th, so he might possibly fall down into a cut line driver spot. Dylan Young just behind him in 31st. That's another driver that could have some worries heading into next week as well, as he was 9th in points coming into this race. And Jordan Lopez, Chris Dollerton, what happened to those two? Because we saw the two of them running around each other earlier, and they're going to finish 34th and 38th. Two drivers that came into this race as the co-points leaders. And this is not what they were looking for by any stretch of the imagination. Dawson Wise is going to finish out of the race in 42nd place. Not sure what happened to him. You guys would have seen it there if it was replay worthy, courtesy of the NSCRA split cam. And of course, Harrison Ponder had damage, was not able to get up there with his teammate. Adam Samsel had to make that late pit stop, and so he'll finish back in 41st. But 41 drivers finished the race all in the lead lap. Wise was the only one that didn't make it to the checkered flag, and Benny Watson gets to celebrate in victory lane for the first time here at the dirt-covered Lime Rock Raceway, and that was a lot of fun. That was a fun race to watch, and I think this dirt-covered Lime Rock will definitely be coming back on the schedule next season. However, so far this playoffs, we have had 4 non-playoff drivers win the 5 playoff races. Dylan Young's the only driver that was sporting a playoff banner to win. That was the first race back at Richmond. So it's really coming down to consistency and the most points accumulated for these playoff drivers as to who's moving on to the next round, it seems, rather than punching your automatic ticket in with a victory. So next week's going to be an interesting one at Arizona Speedway, as nobody at this point is locked in to the round of 8. A couple of drivers that look like they would be in good shape right now would be T Wright and Zach Rogers, maybe even Adam Garcia, but we're going to have to wait and see. Thank you all for tuning in today's race here from Lime Rock Dirt. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We've shown you full finisher results with Benny Watson going coast to coast, pole to win. Here's the point standings heading to next week in the second elimination race at Arizona Speedway. 12 drivers enter, 8 drivers move on. Take a look around that critical 8th position in the points and see just how close it is heading into next week. Should be a good one, but thanks for tuning in. I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching another production of the NNSCRA, offline racing at its best. We'll see you guys next week at Arizona Speedway for our second elimination race of the playoffs.